Welcome to Week 6, Project Management 4020, Multi-Project Management. This is Michael Durbin. The topic for Week 6 is portfolio management, including governance, stakeholder management, and capacity and capability management. In Canvas, please review the overview, agenda assignments, and lecture videos. For your assignments this week, we will have reading, discussions, and a stakeholder assignment. Chapter 4, Portfolio Governance, says that governance is defined by senior management at a board level and is usually based on organizational needs. Portfolio governance is there to optimize investment so that we meet the organizational strategic and operational goals. Governance provides a framework that makes all the other PPM domains work. This is like the integration management in the PMBOK that allows all the other knowledge areas to work together. It is a system of control, a set of processes, and arranges for ad hoc audits of portfolio components like projects and programs. Portfolio governance is not management. It is decision-making, oversight, control, and integration. Overall, portfolio governance could be defined as enabling transparency, responsibility, accountability, sustainability, and fairness across PPM. Figure 4-1 on page 45 shows the flow of governance down through the organization. It impacts portfolios, programs, projects, and operations. The impact of governance is only as good as its implementation by management. So here in the diagram, we can see the A's indicating the business goals and governing principles flowing down. The B indicates governance practices, including oversight, control, integration, and decision-making. We notice that B is everywhere, as well as C, the management activities of performance reporting, change requests, and escalated issues and risk. Key roles in portfolio governance include the portfolio sponsor, which is usually an executive member. The portfolio sponsor is responsible for championing resources to meet portfolio's goals, objectives, and realizing the intended value contribution. He or she ensures portfolio goals align to strategic vision, provides oversight and feedback, removes barriers and obstacles, ensures funding of components and resources for components, as well as manages the relationship between senior management and the portfolio management team. Another role would be the Performance Governance Board, which determines governance practices, provides leadership oversight, decision-making, basically deciding what components will get funded. The Performance Governance Board is responsible for building a governance framework, approving governance policies, does component selection, categorization, and prioritization, and reviews escalated issues for remediation. Lastly, there is the portfolio audit that informs component projects or programs of planned and ad hoc audits by internal or external auditing bodies. Chapter 5, Capacity and Capability Management. The objective is to determine the optimal balance of resources used and needed. Capacity management is one of the most complex and critical areas in portfolio management. It seeks to address resource demand conflicts between components. It's done through capacity planning, which measures components demand against supply. Basically, what resources are needed, how many, and when, across 4 different categories: people, the human resources, financial capital, money, Assets would be equipment, buildings, and intellectual capital. Capacity planning aligns portfolio components to the available human capacity. As I said, this is one of the hardest areas in portfolio management due to the inaccuracy of estimating. Projects and programs that have not even started yet usually have a high-level estimate known as an analogous estimate that may over or understate the component's true need. Likewise, it's hard to measure the capacity of individual resources without taking into consideration a ton of factors, such as their availability. Are they going to be on PTO or leave during that project? What is their skill level? What education have they had? What training? And did that education or training turn into true capabilities? Personal maturity. Can that person be expected to work a 40-hour week? Or are they going to lollygag? Working conditions. We've all had an experience with COVID the last 6 months, and we know in some cases the working conditions are not optimal. And then lastly, personal mindset. What other family issues, what other personal crises are impacting that person's ability to do work? Figure 5-2 shows an example of supply and demand situation where there are periods of overutilization and underutilization. A common problem here is every organization has bottleneck resources, which are skill sets that are needed on many projects at the same time. What we are seeking is equilibrium. So we have the right amount of demand to match our supply. Capability management addresses specific attributes, competencies, and skills used by the component projects and programs. An organization's capabilities can create competitive advantages in the marketplace and create value for the customers. Examples of organizations that developed a capability advantage over its competitors is Walmart and Express Scripts. Walmart has an advanced supply chain that helps keep prices low and shelves stocked. Express Scripts also invested in automating its supply chain to lower prices for the customer, but more importantly, for reducing costs for insurance companies. Chapter 6, Portfolio Stakeholder Engagement, covers portfolio stakeholders, which are very similar to projects and program stakeholders. They are individuals or groups that are affected by the portfolio or can have an effect on the portfolio. This can be positive or negative impact or influence. A list of stakeholders is significantly different at the portfolio level than at the component level. They are higher level in the organization, and their level of interest may be different. Steps for stakeholder engagement include the identification of the stakeholders, an analysis, as we've seen in previous chapters, which includes the categorization of stakeholders, planning, and then the engagement activities that we will pursue. Table 6-1 on page 66 shows stakeholders' role, interest, and expectations by group. So we can see specifically how the portfolio sponsor would differ than the portfolio governance organization versus the PMO, et cetera, et cetera. Table 6-2 on page 69 show an example of key stakeholder context used to identify the key concerns or perspectives of stakeholders. This is a handy tool to have available during your portfolio. Table 6-3 on page 73 is an example communication matrix, which is foundational to building the communication management plan. This is very similar to the communication plan used at the project or program level. In closing, please remember to participate in the discussion forum at least 3 times, watch for new announcements, and complete your homework on time. Contact me anytime this holiday week and I wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you and have a great week.